So in this video today, I'm going to walk you through exactly the details that you need to submit your incident report to Human Resources. Now, this is going to be following the incident as soon as possible, slash incidents if there has been more than one situation that has occurred based on whatever it is that has happened for you to now have this psychological injury. To give you a little bit of a background on, in my case, for example, the incident that occurred at the workplace event, it was on a Friday. I personally did not actually process what had even actually happened until the following Monday morning. So when the situation and the incident occurred in the workplace event, I actually froze. So my brain and the processing time, I knew sort of what had happened in the moment, but the actual breakdown itself and my reaction to, or my more emotional reaction to the situation happened on my way to work the following Monday morning. So on the Monday morning, I'd actually had a panic attack and broke down, and that was sort of when my body went into this traumatic state, and my nervous system, I had never experienced anything like it before. I had turned up to the workplace and spoken directly to another colleague who I'd been working with in the same location first 2 months of when I had started. He immediately could tell that I was traumatized, and he said that you need to let HR know immediately. And so what I actually did was I sat down at my computer and I immediately typed out exactly what happened at the event on the Friday night, and I also talked about the panic attack that I had in the morning and my nervous system and my processing time of what actually I was feeling in that moment in time. So these are the things that you need to ensure are included in your incident report that you will send to the HR director. So you want to include your full name, your job title, your department, the date of the incident. If you can include timestamps from the beginning of, for example, the night of in my case, it was the beginning of the night of the event. It was earlier in the day of some red flag pre-incident indicator behavior of what I upon reflection, there were some things that were happening prior to the perpetrator being involved. So you want to detail as much detail as possible with timestamps, what exactly happened at what timing, what was going on pre-incident, what happened during the incident, what happened following the incident. So you want to also include the location, you want to include the perpetrator's name, their job title, their department if it's a large company. You want to also include names of any witnesses. Now, this is really important because the witnesses and gaining statements from witnesses are going to assist you greatly with your claim and being able to have this as part of your case through work cover and being able to essentially start your workers' compensation claim, because it's not as simple as providing an incident report and then you're approved for work cover. There are quite a few steps involved before your claim is actually approved. You want to include also any exact quotes and comments that were said by the perpetrator, any comments and quotes that you directly said, or how you acted, or what you displayed in the situation and when the incident happened or when the incident was occurring. You also want to include exact word for word, to the best of your memory that you can recall, of the witnesses that were around you that had witnessed it, any comments that they had come up to you and either intervened, did not intervene, who saw what was their reaction, what was their response, did they do anything, what was their involvement, how did they actually react within the situation at hand, especially when it's in a public setting. Be as specific as possible. For example, at 10:30 a.m., I'm just going to say a random name. Mike said to me XYZ, and my response to him was XYZ. Immediately following this, at 11 a.m., Mike did this particular action or did this particular behavior to me. Be as descriptive as possible. Also include the emotion that you felt in the moment that Mike or this person either physically touched you, verbally said something to you, sexually assaulted you, whatever has happened. Be as descriptive as possible, because this is very important, especially when it comes to down the line. If you want to pursue something further down the line, such as a civil lawsuit claim, there are many other avenues that you can go to that are going to be incredibly helpful. And the more descriptive you are, especially when something, the incident has just happened, it's completely fresh in your mind, you need to write it down. Include as well if it was a single action of behavior, or if it's been a repeated pattern of behavior, if it was within this one day of the incident, or had this been ongoing for the last few weeks, few months even, what has actually been happening, whether or not there were any previous incidences. Now, in my case, there was a conflict of interest due to the HR director being married directly to the CEO. So that was also assistance in my personal case, as there's a conflict of interest already. There was also evidence of the perpetrator writing an apology letter, which also assisted me in being able to have my work cover claim approved. The perpetrator also resigned actually from the workplace. So I don't know what stories were told within the workplace following my sudden departure, and I actually never returned back to this workplace. So I'm not actually sure what was discussed on why Alyssa suddenly, disappeared or departed out of nowhere. You also want to detail your psychological responses as well. So what was your body actually feeling? What were the emotional reactions and responses in, again, the prior, during, and after the incident had happened as well? So we have to remember that something such as post-traumatic stress disorder, which is the psychological injury that I experienced due to this workplace incident, PTSD occurs when your nervous system essentially enters fight, flight, or freeze. A lot of us have heard of these terms before. In my case, my body went into a freeze state. Again, in another video, I'll actually share with you several things that truly helped me move the way that my nervous system reacts to potential threats from the body, and how I've actually been able to move past this essential freeze state. I'll also do another video specifically related to PTSD and some of the symptoms, as well as the somatic healing practices that I have personally used to help me overcome the PTSD. So going back to the evidence that you're going to provide as part of your incident report to the Human Resources Department, you also want to include, off the back of the verbatim quotes and any phrases, statements, the conversation, the dialect that has come through and during the incident. Also include any tone if relevant, for example, screaming, shouting, any sarcasm, or anything that, again, you think is relevant to your case. Also include any non-verbal behaviors that have happened, again, pre, during, and after. This could include a door being slammed in someone's face. This could include getting up and close into your personal space and maybe shouting at you within your personal space. Again, anything that is relevant to your case. Additionally, if you have any evidence, including documentation, so if you have any screenshots of conversations, any video recordings of conversations, maybe, again, you could potentially be in a video meeting, a Zoom call, you could potentially be in a public area that has CCTV footage that you can access from the building itself. That is something that actually is very important if you're going to actually submit a police report. I'm not 100% sure with how long CCTV footage is captured and kept for, but if you are looking to file a police report, then I would recommend going directly to whether it's the building, whether it's a public area, or contacting the council directly, doing that as soon as possible to ensure that video footage can be accessed. And then again, if you have already actually gone to a GP, which is the next video that I'm going to discuss about actually then going to submit your work cover claim, that will be the next video. If you have already gone to the GP to gain a medical certificate, for example, to have the next few days off of work to recover, for example, then use that as part of your incident report and attach that to your email. And now you also need to detail the impact that it has now suddenly had on your work. So your work productivity, your work efficiency, being unable to complete work tasks because, for example, again, going back to my case or an example such as PTSD, you could be having panic attacks, you could be having flashbacks, you could have an inability to completely concentrate because the location or the workplace that is directly linked to the perpetrator, the incident, the company that is negligent, and now these people that are now all tied in that are linked to this, traumatizing incident, now are unable to attend a workplace, do the work that is required because you're immediately triggered by a person, a workplace, and being reminded of the event. This can also include that you now feel physiologically unsafe to actually attend your workplace. You feel physiologically unsafe to even attend a Zoom meeting or a Zoom call because you know that this person is going to be on the particular meeting, for example. You could even feel sick to your stomach at the thought of you attending the workplace, seeing a witness in the workplace that did not intervene, that did not say anything, that did not help you, and you were left to manage the situation on your own. At the end of the email, you can also ask HR to acknowledge receipt of your email and state that you are awaiting their next steps or any support options that are available within the company. Make sure that you are sending this from your work email and ensure that you also forward this work email to your personal email so you have this as personal evidence to go back on if you are removed from email access, for example. So in the next video, I'm going to go into detail about now going to your GP, your local doctor, and asking them to start the workers' compensation claim on your behalf. Please make sure to subscribe and support this video series. If you can send this to any other woman that has experienced a psychological injury as a result of a workplace incident, please send this to her. And I hope that these videos find the right people. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next.